Welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking with Republican Senator Andrew Rohrback about Obamacare, which requires nearly all Americans to have health care insurance by 2014 or face a penalty. Well, the Supreme Court is expected to announce its ruling on the constitutionality of that law this Thursday. So joining me now is Senator Richard Blumenthal, live from Washington, D.C., to talk a little bit more about this. Good to see you, Senator.
Good to be with you, Logan. Thank you.
So let's break this down. As we were talking with State Senator Andrew Rohrback, there are four challenges, basically. The main one is this individual mandate. Can the country require individuals to purchase health insurance? Then there's the question of whether the Supreme Court actually can make a ruling on the issue. And if the mandate does fail, what happens to the rest of the law? And then, of course, there's the Medicaid expansion. Is that constitutional? What are your thoughts on the individual mandate? I know a lot of legal experts are saying that they think that just might actually fail.
Well, you know, I have a somewhat unique perspective, Logan, first because I sat in on the arguments of the Supreme Court for part of it, and I've argued cases before the Supreme Court over the 20 years that I served as Connecticut's Attorney General, and I was a law clerk on the Supreme Court. And I can tell you that nobody knows, from the questions, from the comments, from anything that was said in the courtroom, what the outcome is going to be. So it is a big unknown at this point, and I think the weight of precedents, the jurisprudence, the court's past decisions all indicate that it should be upheld because there are limiting principles. The court isn't telling people, nor is the United States, what to wear, what to eat. It is requiring that people have some form of health insurance or pay a penalty, just as we do when people own cars and they have to buy insurance for those cars. And the question is whether health insurance is so pervasive in its impact on America that it is part of interstate commerce and therefore within the powers of the federal government. And I think the court should uphold the law, but even if it doesn't, going to your second question, I believe the rest of the law can be sustained and should be sustained.
What would happen if the individual mandate is struck down and then the rest of the law is upheld? How would that go into effect?
My main interest is really how it affects Connecticut, because I've fought for the people of Connecticut against exactly the abuses that this law stops. For example, discriminating against people because they have pre-existing conditions, or billing them into bankruptcy through annual or lifetime limits, or dropping people when they get sick, or charging them unreasonable co-pays or deductibles for preventive health care, or raising their premiums unreasonably. All of those abuses that I fought year after year, insurance company after company, as Attorney General, this law addresses and stops. I want to make sure those provisions are retained, along with the coverage for people under 26 years old, 23,000 of them in Connecticut, who have gained that coverage because they're now enabled to stay on their parents' policies. So how do we deal with those issues? I think the law should be sustained and upheld, even if the individual mandate is struck down. And I'm going to be fighting to help Connecticut insurance companies, as well as Connecticut policyholders and patients, continue to have the benefits of this law, and including, I'm going to fight for that expanded coverage of Medicaid, which, by the way, means more than $50 million to people in Connecticut. The expanded fraud and abuse fighting provisions, the new tools under the law. Again, I have that perspective as Attorney General. I fought waste and abuse and fraud in health care, and those new tools are very important in fighting the waste and fraud in the program right now. So there's a lot of good in this program. Put aside the individual mandate. I'm going to be fighting for what's best for Connecticut.
Senator Richard Blumenthal, thanks for the insight. We appreciate it. We'll all be waiting to see what happens on Thursday. It's good to talk to you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.